Yo, what is up, guys? It is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, back again here with another video, and today's video is on quarterback sleepers. But before we start the video, I'd like to ask you guys to please subscribe down below, leave a like, leave a comment, and let me know if you enjoyed the video or not, and also follow my Twitter. Link is on the screen, and also in the description below. So the first sleeper we're going to be talking about here is Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is the 10th. He's currently pick 91, which makes him the 10th quarterback to come off the board according to the Fantasy Football Calculator. He's a rushing quarterback, as you can see from his college in Oklahoma. He was the number one pick in the NFL draft this year, which means the Cardinals clearly like him. They got rid of their quarterback that they drafted last year, Josh Rosen, shipped him to Miami just because they viewed him so highly. He was also the Heisman winner. 2 years in a row coming from Oklahoma, being Baker Mayfield and then Kyler Murray this year. In at Oklahoma in college, he went 260 for 337 completions to attempts, 4,361 passing yards for a 42-7 touchdown interception ratio, with over 1,000 rush yards and 12 rushing touchdowns. Now, obviously, he's not going to score 12 rushing touchdowns in the NFL this season, but him scoring 8 is something that I could see being potentially happening, like rookie RG3. Obviously, his passing numbers will also go down. Probably not going to throw for 4,000 yards, but him throwing 3.5 would not be out of the realm of possibilities. And him getting like 500, 600 rushing yards is also possible, especially when the offensive line is so bad that he's going to have to scramble out to try to make plays. And if he doesn't see anyone open, he's going to have to run, use his legs. He also has solid receivers that Cliff Kingsbury brought in, and also receivers that were already there, like Larry Fitz was already there. But Christian Kirk is a fast receiver who's now on the team that they brought in. I also like Ricky Seals-Jones, their tight end. I think he could have a solid year with Kyler Murray, especially since rookie quarterbacks usually look towards the tight ends as a safety net. He also has a much better arm than a lot of guys that are rushing that you would consider a rushing quarterback. Better arm than Allen, in my opinion. More accurate. So the second guy we're looking at here is going to be Josh Allen. That same guy, Josh Allen. He's the 18th quarterback off the board according to Fantasy Football Calculator. He's a rushing quarterback. On 11 games started in 2018, he had a 52% completion rating, 2,074 passing yards with a 10-2 touchdown interception ratio, which is pretty good considering he only started 11 games because they had shitty Nathan Peterman in the game when he should have been the one starting. On the ground, he had 89 attempts for 631 yards and 8 rushing touchdowns. And if you guys remember, some of those yards came from when he hurdled Anthony Barr week 3 against the Vikings, one of the great plays of this season. And his rushing ability, I think he might even score more than 8 touchdowns this year, maybe 9. It's always possible. So, week 12 on, he averaged about 80 rush yards per game. It was the fantasy quarterback 2 at the time. That means it was just him and Mahomes up at the top, and you would never even look at Josh Allen and be like, that guy's a good fantasy quarterback or a good quarterback, but he is good in fantasy because of the rushing yards and the rushing touchdown possibility. He averaged 17.3 fantasy points per game in those 11 games that he started. And this year, he has an easy first 3 week schedule for 2019 versus the Jets, Giants, and Bengals. I believe it's away at Jets and then at Giants, and then it's at home against the Bengals. So clearly, he has shown that he's worth more than a 12th round pick, and I could see his ADP rising. He's a guy I like a lot because I think they have solid receiver options. Like I like Robert Foster a lot. Zay Jones is okay, and I think that Josh Allen could have a pretty good season this year if he stays healthy. And he's one of those guys that you can put a flyer in for, and if it doesn't end up working out, you just pick someone else up. I don't know if every guy in these videos are gonna hit, but I think that if a majority of them will. So the next guy we're looking at here is Dak Prescott, pick 137.3. He's the 19th quarterback off the board according to Fantasy Football Calculator. He's a rushing quarterback. He's literally gotten 6 rushing touchdowns all 3 years he was in the NFL and averages over 300 rush yards over those same 3 years, which is really good floor for a guy that does stuff every year rushing, and you need rushing. Rushing is key for quarterbacks in 4 point per passing touchdown leagues. and even in 6-point passing touchdown leagues. He's 67.7 passing percentage with 3,884 yards and is 22 of 8 passing touchdowns to interceptions. He threw more passes this year than last year and his freshman year, and he hasn't missed a game in all 3 years. So that tells you that you're getting a guy who's healthy, and that's pretty key in fantasy when you see guys going down week 2, week 3 early in the season. He did better in the back half of the 2018 season. Without Amari Cooper, or with Amari Cooper, he averaged 24.03 fantasy points per game versus 19.8 fantasy points per game without him. Uh, this happens because he added over 60 passing yards per game with Cooper, and Cooper is a guy he looks for in the red zone. This year they also get Witten back, who I don't believe is a great tight end, but I know Dak likes throwing it to him. And I also think that with Zeke rushing a lot, it also opens up the spot for them not to be looking for Dak to run on option plays. All right, the final guy we're going to be discussing here is Lamar Jackson, pick 154.5. He's this 22nd quarterback coming off the board according to the Fantasy Football Calculator. He is also a rushing quarterback. He was on pace last year for over 1,200 rush yards and 9 rushing touchdowns from week 11 on in 2018. Over 15 fantasy points per game in 4-point quarterback touchdown leagues, which is great. He's in a rush-heavy offense. A lot of guys tend to mock that his weapons are pretty bad, but I think guys like Marquise Brown, like if Marquise Brown gets healthy, he's going to be a pretty solid option for him. And Mark Andrews also was a safety blanket for him last year. Mark Ingram coming in as part of the rushing game from the Saints, and Justice Hill drafted this year, who's a speedy guy who I think that might take a lot of the pressure off of Lamar Jackson. He's working on a better release in minicamp. According to Baltimore Sun, they believe that Lamar Jackson has more newfound confidence coming into this year. He's walking with more swagger, and he is just looking better in camp. I do worry about the fact that he is working on a new release, working on a better release, trying to release the ball better so that he doesn't look like a goddamn idiot out there when he's trying to throw the ball down the field. But even even if that, I think that he's gonna be able to fix that, so I'm not too worried about it. He's also fast as fuck, and he even though he didn't run the 40 in the combine, he's a very fast guy. And that's all, guys, for today. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys have a great day. Please subscribe down below, and as always, see you guys later. Goodbye.